T. It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about let it go. Let it go.
You didn't have to do that.
I know. I kind of did, I think. We're going to talk a little bit about leaving things behind in 2024 and looking ahead to 2025. We'll get to that discussion with the All-Pro counselor himself right after these important messages. This episode of the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast is presented by Faulkner University. Faulkner University is a private Christian liberal arts university based in Montgomery, Alabama, with a mission to provide an education anchored by not only intellect, but also character and service. The Faulkner experience aims to educate the whole person. Every individual matters every day. We all want to become better versions of ourselves. No one wants to remain trapped where they are because of missed opportunities and unrealized dreams. At Faulkner University, we believe your dreams don't have an expiration date. We understand that you're looking for more than a degree. You want to find your niche and thrive in your career. Whether you're a high school senior just beginning your trek or an adult student looking for a better path, Faulkner is here to help guide your journey. Go to faulkner.edu to apply or get more info. That's faulkner.edu. I'm Travis Creasy, living in Fayetteville, Tennessee, campus minister, Riverside Christian Academy, pulpit minister, podcaster, whatever else. That's All-Pro counselor Ben Hayes. He's also the pulpit minister at Highland Park Church of Christ, where we are sitting currently in his office, as many podcasts have been recorded, many CYC videos have been recorded as we really kind of in our world gear up for CYC Dallas, practicing with Skits for the Truth, working on new videos for those Dallas folks this year. And I guess by this point, we'll record this in 24. It'll be coming out on the last day for everyone else. And so we're going to talk a little bit about letting things go in 2024 as we flip over the calendar to 2025. First of all, Ben,
It's just
like
weird.
2025. I mean, I can remember little kids in the hallway at Central High School wearing shirts like Class of 2013 or something like that. And man,
it's strange.
We're way past that, 2025.
Well, when kids at school are asking you, what was it like back in the 1900s, then it starts hurting a little bit. When I start watching, if you watch Christmas Vacation and you realize that, the videos he's watching, the black and white videos up in the attic actually, is the same as us watching videos from like the 80s.
Yes.
It just starts hurting a little when you start doing that.
Now, I think we were like 8, or I was 8 when that movie came out. So, time flies. And that's kind of what we're talking about, right? There are certainly things every year, I think, that we've talked about in the past, things that are kind of the words of the year. Whitney and I have that discussion, kind of goals that we want. But there's also things that we kind of leave behind. Some things we want to leave behind, some things that may be a little more difficult to leave behind. So we want to talk a little bit about that as we get ready for 2025, which, like I said, when this comes out, that will be tomorrow. So
only a day away.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Editing YouTube videos, going through and kind of updating some YouTube stuff last night, and it was like, well, we have a lot of content out there.
There is a lot.
So first of all, thank you for listening, hanging out. We know a lot of you suffer through some things that we do to get to some of the things that you enjoy, and we certainly appreciate it. And some of you love all of it, and that's great. But what are some things maybe that we want to leave behind as we flip over to a new year? I know that one of the difficult things to let go of oftentimes is our feelings about people who maybe have done us wrong, we might say, here in the South. And the Bible talks about setting aside sin that easily besets us, but also there are things that we kind of hold on to that help us, that keep us looking behind. And I don't think we're turning into anything salty, but we can stay a little salty toward people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so easy to let unforgiveness cling on, and forgiveness is, we've talked about this before. I know you guys have heard this before, probably heard it at your church on several occasions. Forgiveness isn't just for the other person. In fact, it might be more for the person doing the forgiving than it is for the person that's receiving it. God knew that, I think. I think he knew that if we hold on to it, it hurts us worse. And it's something that will eat at us. It's something that makes bitterness continue to grow. And so it's, not being able to forgive ends up eating us from the inside out. And so I think that's one of the things that I would encourage everybody to just sort of look at. I got a call several years ago from somebody right before the year was over, and they just said, "Hey, I had this, I remember saying something to you earlier in the year, and I just wanted to clear the air before anything, before the new year rolled around. And honestly, I didn't remember anything they said to me. I've said this before. There's been several occasions where people have carried something. One time it was like 20 years or something like that they carried a problem that they thought I was hurt by. And I was like, I don't even remember what you're talking about. But this particular one I did, but I didn't take any offense to it. But they felt like it was something they needed to clear the air before the year started. I think it was before the new year, but it was before something for them. It was a change in life there. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Not that it was anything that really bothered me, but it was something that bothered them, and they needed to let go of that to start something new. And so maybe there's something you need to look at, and there's something that's been bothering you. There's somebody that's been bothering you. There's something that's kind of been on your heart that you need to let go of, that, frustration with someone else. Maybe it's talking to them. Maybe it's writing a letter that you never give to them, but just kind of airing out those grievances however you need to, just to kind of get by some of those things that have been hurting you.
Yeah, there's an idea of being the bigger person. And certainly I've been working on being the bigger person as I eat through the holidays. But I'm still just 5'10".
Different kind.
Yeah, I'm 5'10", so it's difficult for me to be the bigger person. But I think what we're talking about here is, being the bigger person, seeking forgiveness. And by no means are we sitting here saying that's an easy thing.
No.
That some of you listening don't have a very good reason to have your feelings hurt, or that you're going through things. It's just, there's so much of that, the things that you can cut loose.
Right.
You should cut loose. And of course, we are Bible-believing Christians, and we believe that we are able to take those things to the throne room of God. And as Peter tells us in one of his epistles, maybe you remember the exact reference, I always get mixed up, that we should cast our cares on him, our anxieties on him, for he cares for us. And so he wants to hear those things out. Even if we know, as I've said in the past, that it's wrong-headed thinking. I know there are things and emotions that I have that are connected to maybe my perspective more so than the reality of how things went down.
Sure.
And so as we get ready to transition into 2025, now may be a good time. I think any time's a good time to let go of some things that can be let go of, or at least, as you're saying, figure out whether, hey, this is something that I need to talk to that person about and do that, take that step, or it's not that big a deal. I can let it go. Yeah. It's not something you want to hang on to. And I think that's a biblical principle in itself too.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, and I think this is why the Bible says, go to your brother either way, is there may be some things you're guilty of that you realize you need to let go of, things that you did. And so you may need to go to somebody about those and say, hey, I was at fault. I was wrong. I'm sorry about this. And so the guilt aspect, I've talked about this maybe before on here, but I talk about it with clients a lot, is when you look at something, if you're feeling guilty and you look at the situation or the scenario, whatever it is, and you realize, hey, I changed my behavior. I changed, and I dealt with as much as I could resolving the conflict with the other person. I find there's a lot of people who come to therapy and they've carried around guilt for years, and I'll ask them, have you done those sorts of things anymore, or are you currently doing them? No, I mean, I've changed my life. I don't do those things anymore. I just can't let it go. And you sang the song earlier, but that I just can't let go of those things. And we'll have you, talk to the person. Yeah, I've done that, but it just keeps hitting me. And so I tell them, this from a biblical perspective, Paul wrote to the Corinthians and basically said that when we, repent, it leads to repentance, which is not to be regretted. We've repented of something, we've turned it over to God, we've changed our behavior. And so when we think about what guilt is and what guilt was for, it was for getting people to change their behavior. If your behavior changed, then there's nothing to be regretted anymore. There's nothing to be held on to. And so it's kind of a misplaced guilt. If you're feeling guilty about something that you did, that you've already got forgiveness for, and you've already dealt with all of the consequences, maybe, talk to the people about, there's nothing really to be carrying around anymore. That is the time to let it go, or find somebody that can help you let it go.
And the ultimate goal is to grow closer, for us to grow closer to the image of Jesus, to be closer to God. And forgiveness, obviously, thankfully, is a major, action of Jesus. And so, maybe they aren't sorry. Maybe they don't ever repent. But it is an aspect of growing closer to the Lord. It will be an obstacle eventually to you being the image of Christ in the world. And if nothing else, and once again, I'm not sitting here telling you that that's come easy for me. There are certainly people that I have expressed my forgiveness towards them, that it did not really restore the relationship. I don't think we're angry or upset at each other anymore, but we're not best friends either, or very close. But because the value for me was, this is what Jesus would do, and that's who I want to mimic in the way I live my life. And it is a gift that we sometimes give ourselves. It's a great gift to open up. As we've opened up plenty of gifts, if you're like me, the last few days, it's a gift to yourself. Like, I'm not going to carry this, whether it's my fault. I don't want to carry the weight, this sin that easily besets me, or it's someone else's fault. I don't want to let that be an obstacle to me having healthy relationships with people around me, but ultimately having a healthy relationship with God. The idea of letting something go can also, we think of more so January 1, I'm going to start doing this or that. And I think that maybe, I don't know if it's simpler or easier or whatever.
And
maybe
January 10th, we stop.
Exactly. No. January 10th, I'm tired of trying that. And we don't want to discourage anyone trying to better themselves. But maybe there's some things that we want to let go. Like, if we want to talk about weight, that seems to be what everybody talks about January 1st. Like, I'm going to cut out one thing from my diet. I'm just not going to do that anymore, whatever that is. I mean, I don't have any plans to do that. But maybe that's the case. Maybe there is something that we can cut back on. Maybe this isn't something that I want to carry into the new year of doing, whether that's a bad habit, or maybe it's something that there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just the straw that's going to break the back if we keep it up. And so whatever that is, we want to offer you encouragement in whatever we've talked about, to do that and to take that next step. But also there's an aspect of accountability.
You need to have somebody that's
a
going
part
to help
of
you with
this,
it.
that's going to help you with that. And maybe it isn't something that's necessarily sinful in Scripture. Maybe it is. But I would encourage you to seek out someone who can help you, and whether that's a all-pro counselor like Ben Hayes, or just a friend, somebody who loves you and is going to hold your feet to the fire, you might say, in getting that goal done. I'm certainly a goal person, but I also don't want to get to the point that if I don't reach that goal, I know you've talked about attainable goals, that it doesn't sink my battleship, you might say. So,
well, I think it's really important. You touched on a big piece of it. I think it's hard for us to keep goals without a person connected to us, or some accountability, somebody that's going, hey, have you been doing this? Because there's a lot of times I start, Bible readings, or I start, some other kind of study, or I start a workout plan. And if you're doing it by yourself, man, it's tough. I think that's why, Blake, that's on here a lot, Blake is big into CrossFit. And I think that's one thing that's a benefit of something like CrossFit, is you've got a community of people who are working together. You're not just doing it by yourself. There's going to be a class, and these people are going to be at that class, and you're going to go do that. I don't know a lot about CrossFit, but that at least seems like what the situation is. I know for us, running is kind of a community on some level. I don't like to run all that much. We like to run for St. Jude, but I kind of have to have some people going, hey, I ran today. How about you? To get me sort of motivated to do that. My daughter is, pretty motivating on that. And so, she pushes me a lot to do those things. So I think it's important to have somebody that's going to go, hey, it's time, you need to come do this, or you need to get after it, whether it's Bible reading or reading a book, so having like little book clubs or whatever else. Sometimes it just helps if you got somebody that's going to push you in it.
Gotcha. I know that we mentioned laughter is medicine, and this just kind of hit me as we get ready to start a new year, and certainly as it is New Year's Eve when this comes out, or whenever you hear this, it might be a good goal. Reach out to somebody today. Reach out to somebody. I know Ben, as I was going to mention that his dad passed last year, and this is a good opportunity to reach out to people who are going through the holidays for the first time, or may have something else going on, or something happened to them weeks ago. Today is a great opportunity to reach out to those people and let them know that you're thinking about them. And you're like, well, what do I say? That's it. I'm thinking about you, right? Like you
That's it.
are on my mind today, and I want you to know that you have not been forgotten. So if nothing else today, maybe you start that as a 30-day challenge. For the next 30 days, I'm going to reach out to somebody every day, or somebody's every day, and let them know how I feel about them, and I'm thinking about them, because I know from experience that goes a really long way.
Yep.
Ben, are there any ways that you might process through letting go of some things? What are some ways to get in the right mindset of either A, this isn't that big a deal, I'm blowing this up out of proportion, or B, I think we talked a little bit about if it is a big deal, like you go to that person and talk to them. So we covered that, I think. What are some ways to figure out? And I guess in my mind, I'm thinking of a Lonnie Jones Fido kind of idea, but also the aspect of, and we've talked about it quite a bit, what is ideal, what is the worst, and where am I at between those two today?
Yeah.
Is there anything like helps you kind of, or that you would give to the folks at home to kind of help them touch base with that? I know breathing techniques are good, guided imagery, all that stuff can help.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the stuff that you've touched on are important. One of the things I think about with this is when it comes to letting go of things is this impacting me right now? Is this something that's past? Is this something that's future? Or is this something that's in the moment? And I think a lot of us get really stuck when we talk about anxiety, when we talk about guilt. Sometimes it's about past things. And sometimes anxiety, at least, is about future stuff. Maybe guilt could be, like, I know one day I'm going to think I didn't spend enough time with my kids or something like that. So there might be some future things that you're thinking of. But so many times the things that are bothering people are things that are in their past or things that are in their future. And so I really try to encourage people to focus on today. Like, you can't control, if it's already happened, you can't go back and change it. And so if it's something I need to tell you I'm sorry for, then good. Let's go say I'm sorry. If it's something I need to do to try to pay you back, if I stole $20 from you, look, I need to for me to feel better, I'm going to go try to get that $20 back. Now, there may be some things that have consequences I can't repay, but I'm going to do everything I can to make it right. And once it's made right, I've got to leave it where it belongs. And that's in the past. And what I tell clients sometimes is, don't say it's in the past, say it doesn't exist. Because I can't get in a DeLorean or a phone booth or whatever the different versions are of time travel. I can't go back and I can't fix it. I can go to Fayetteville, I can go to Huntsville, I can go to Birmingham, but I can't go to the past. So technically the past doesn't exist. I can remember it. I can remember it existing, just like I remember putting on my socks or putting on my pants or putting on my shirt today. I can remember those things happening, but they don't exist anymore. I'm not putting on my shoes anymore. And so I'm not doing anything in the past. And so if I'm feeling guilty about something of the past, if I'm feeling frustrated about something of the past, or I'm feeling anxious about something of the past, I need to not say in the past, I need to say it doesn't exist. And if I can kind of get in my mind that, hey, those moments that I'm feeling guilty about don't exist anymore. I could tell you to stop, treating somebody badly. And that happened 10 years ago. And you'd say, I'm not treating them badly. Okay, then let's move on. You're not currently doing that. And so same thing can apply somewhat to the future. Like I'm worried about whatever, or I'm thinking about these future things. We'll stop doing that. Well, I'm not doing it yet. Okay, then why are we worrying about it? Why is that something that we're spending our time on? Let's focus on what we are doing. Let's focus on right now. Let's focus on the moment. And that's where mindfulness techniques come in, whether it's breathing or whether it's just focusing on what I can, taste or smell or hear or see or feel, those different senses that sometimes can help us ground ourselves in the moment so that we're not stuck somewhere in the past.
Yeah, I think any of the practical thing, and maybe in the moment you go, okay, practically what can I do to make the past issue better? What practically can I do today that's going to help the future issue? And sometimes the answer is nothing. There's nothing I can do to fix those. But a lot of times there are things that we can, and a lot of my prayers often, Lord, open my eyes to where it's so obvious of what I can do to help. If there's something I can do to help it, make that be revealed rather than me sitting here opining or worrying or letting it overwhelm me. And so I think anything practical you can come up with, and we have technology today. Maybe it's a text message saying, hey, I love you, or whatever it is to make those things right. That may make it awkward with some people, but just what practically can I do? And I will always say that prayer is certainly one of those things.
Yeah.
But
well, one thing I was going to say too, I mentioned this before we started recording, is I heard somewhere this concept of KISS, and a lot of people think keep it simple, stupid, but it's actually what are some of the things? What are some of the things that I need to keep doing? What are some of the things I need to investigate doing, like think about doing? What are some of the things I need to stop doing, and what are some of the things I might need to start doing? And so, what I need to keep, what I need to look into, investigate a little bit more, what I need to stop, and what I need to start. And that's kind of helped me a lot with, when I really break down, how's my year going? How's my month going? How's my week going? What's some of the things that are working?
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing those things. What are some things that, I hear other people are doing that helps them? Maybe I want to look into that and try to incorporate that into my life. What are some things that are really not working for me? Like they just really need to be done away with. This isn't going to help at all. And then what are some things that I definitely want to start? Maybe it's some of those things I looked into, and now I've kind of got this list ready of what I want to do and what I want to get started with. And so that might be something helpful as you hit the new year, to just think, instead of like, okay, here's this big, huge goal of something that I'm going to start, losing weight or doing whatever. It may just be, let's just start with some simple things. Some tiny habits, as we've talked about.
Oftentimes here, you may go out for a run, a jog, a walk, a crawl, which I did during St. Jude, trying to get off the ground, but you are lapping all the people at home who are not doing anything. Right. So a lot of times that's the way, the perspective you got to look at it.
Look here, partner. When you want to secure your load, you don't want to trust no fancy pants or straps. You want something made real tough. Strap Outlaw ratchet straps for those who like to work hard, live wild, and don't take no guff off nobody who ain't tough enough. So when you're out there on the road and life's trying to throw your load around, trust your gear the only strap that's tough enough for the job. StrapOutlaw.com.
Why are you talking like that?
Well, I'm doing a commercial for the toughest straps around.
Why don't you tell them to go to StrapOutlaw.com and check out all the ratchets, especially the T-grip ratchet that we got right here.
And they're veteran owned. StrapOutlaw.com.
So today, as we get ready for the magicmind.com /BAT20 question of the day, the question of the day is, what are you going to leave behind in 2024? And it can be anything. Like I got a few things floating around, don't have anything to do with what we talked about today, and I'm trying to decide on one. But we would love for you as to go to magicmind.com/BAT, BAT20, and get up to 48% off your subscription to Magic Mind. And man, I'm enjoying mine certainly through the break. I love drinking it. It was good the first time we had Magic Mind, but they've added a little sweetener. It tastes a little different to me, and it certainly has gotten better a good bit. It was great the first time. It's even better now. But it's a really big boost to me. I've mentioned that I usually take mine around 10 o'clock, and I can feel an uptick in my efficiency, if I can use that word, by using it. It's really easy to sign up. It's really easy to cancel. I think you can even do it through text message. And if you aren't happy with what you've got, that's 100% guaranteed, no questions asked, refund. So, man, there's nothing to lose, really. Go check it out. Ben, I know you've mentioned some of the stuff that you like about it too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are looking for, some of the natural stuff, and I hear people talk about lion's mane and some other things that you'll find in there, and a lot of whether it's energy or just focus that you get from it. It's been great, again, for me as well. I'm kind of like you. I feel like this second round with it has been better. I don't know if it's taste-wise or just efficiency-wise or whatever, but I've been doing that too. I've done it a little less over the break just because our schedules have been so crazy.
Yeah.
So I've kind of forgotten to drink it a couple times, but I've been trying to drink it on work days, and it seems to have helped a whole lot.
It's got a little thing called ashwagandha, which is fun to say.
Too.
I just enjoy saying it, and I enjoy saying weird things, and I hope I don't leave that back behind in 2024. So the question, magicmind.com/BAT20, question of the day is, what are you going to leave behind in 2024? I'm going to tell you right now, and speaking of Magic Mind, it's not jittery, doesn't make me jittery, like watching Alabama football makes me jittery.
You're going to leave that behind?
And so I'm going to try to leave behind at least my snobbery on bad football, right? Like I've gotten to the point as a coach where I can't watch bad football, and it's not even bad to most people. Most people, they love it. I'm just like, oh, tackle somebody. I even find myself like the team that I'm not rooting for, I'm like correcting them and trying to coach them. So I'm going to try to let go of my control freakness on games that I have no control over.
Yeah.
And just try to enjoy the sport that I grew up loving and not let the transfer portal or NIL ruin that for me as much. So that's mine, Ben. What are you leaving behind 2024?
I'm trying
Christmas
to think of
tree cakes, right?
Yeah.
No,
well, we get a lot. I get a lot of those. Honestly, I don't eat as many as some people think I do. I get a lot of boxes of them, and I try to give away some of what I get. It's just one of those things.
I do like them. You get, bro. You got to give those away.
I do like them.
Still kicking around,
but I might not like them quite as much as what people think I like them. But I enjoy the joke, so I just go with it. But anyway, probably. I need to leave behind a little bit of busyness. I think I'm really trying. I've been trying this year. I failed really hard, but I'm trying to get where I don't have as much going on my plate, and so I'm trying to find ways to sort of set those things, some things aside, or at least find ways to incorporate one thing with the next. But we had the children's book going on this year. Hopefully we're going to get to leave that behind soon, and it's going to be finished. We're looking forward to that being done. We were writing something else that I won't share just yet because it's not quite out there, but we worked on another project together. So the two of those things have taken a lot of time. A lot of just extra speaking engagements, things like that. So I'm trying to kind of slow down a little bit in some of those areas. We'll see how that goes. It's also been just a really busy year. As you've already mentioned, Dad passed away at the beginning of the year in January. A lot of our members have passed away or had family members that passed away. And so it's just been kind of a difficult grief year. So hopefully we can kind of leave some of that behind, and hopefully this next year won't be as hard on a lot of families as it has. But I kind of know how years go. There's always going to be loss, and there's always going to be good things. So hopefully for us, we can begin to start getting some of those firsts finished up. So.
Well, it is funny because it's like we're wrapping up some stuff just in time for conference season to start off, and we'll be traveling. Certainly, we ask for your prayers. We're very excited to go see our friends out in Texas and that area. All those that attend CYC Dallas, of course, Pigeon Forge coming up in February. It seems like they're already, for me. My mom was like, so it sounds like you got something going on every month till July.
And yeah, like, we do. Yeah,
absolutely, we do. But
just about
prayers for that, and certainly looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys, our friends out in the wild. Feel free, please come talk to us. We'd love to hear what we could do better, right? Yeah. Or if there's an episode or something that we could do that you're really interested in, or anything, we'd love to hear any of those opinions. You don't have to wait till you see us out in the wild. You go hello at benandtravis.com. And also check out facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis. A lot of stuff going on there, especially to start the new year. So, Ben, I appreciate the time.
Man, yeah, always a blast.
Yeah.
Let's do it again in 2025.
Hey, parents and young adventurers, are you ready to embark on an extraordinary journey? Introducing The Adventures of Ben and Travis and the Worry Coaster, a thrilling ride through the ups and downs of mental health in our new children's book. Join our dynamic duo as they navigate the twists and turns of their emotions while discovering the courage to conquer their worries. Pre-order your ticket to adventure now at benandtravis.com/books and be among the first to embark on this roller coaster of resilience. Let's turn worry into wonder and empower kids to embrace their feelings with bravery and hope. Buckle up. It's going to be an unforgettable ride.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.